Not that song.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1730. I'm your host, Mike Matthews. Welcome to Cafe Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont, the last place on earth. Wow, 486 subscribers now on the website at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST-1730-Uncanny. Go there. You can see past podcast pictures, listen to past shows, see all the places you can check out the show. I have recently stopped promoting
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I've recently stopped promoting Twitch because Twitch is acting weird. Guess what?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Like I thought I would put my show on Twitch TV, and I guess it did not let me upload videos. And to me, that's dumb because I want to have my show go on the radio. Twitch. Is there Twitch radio? See, it just doesn't work because it's all visual. People got to be visually...
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Visually stimulated. The visual stimuli. But at any rate, hey, this whole thing...
Mike's
with the
Daily
Saudi prince, I just want...
Podcast.
Find it very interesting.
Yeah!
That Trump was forced by the world. The world finally gave a crap about reporters. All this bashing of the media, the drive-by media, everybody puts down journalists. At one point at some rally, Trump, a couple months back, called out journalists and people cheered and went, yeah, journalists suck. And journalists in the audience are kind of feeling a little uncomfortable. Look who's just a little. Look who walked in. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the rodeo queen. How y'all doing? And I'm my horse, Nelly. Hi, Nelly. Good horse.
It's me, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, tell you what.
What?
It's not that we hate the media. It's that y'all lie all the time. Why did that door open just as I was talking?
I don't know. But yesterday, look who else walked in. I was doing a bunch of yard work out front because of that aforementioned a-hole of a Hayward... Alameda County Planning Commission BS that I had to deal with. They sent me a letter saying, you got to pull your weeds. So there was a bunch of weeds to pull, and my lovely lady friend helped me. And I was trying to talk to her outside of my house, and oh God, like between...
And here's today's podcast picture.
We were working between 3:30 and 6:30. Yeah, for about 3 hours. Probably longer. Oh, it was a long day. We're both so sore. So sore. But like we couldn't carry on a conversation because of all the loud frickin' Basil. He tried to help out a little bit. He grabbed a stick now and then. All these frickin' large... Well, they didn't have those kind of horns, but all these cars driving by with their loud car horns. And then they're just so frickin' loud. Ugh. And the guy I produce a money show for, he made a great point yesterday, and that is when you're buying a house, although my audience listening to this right now, there's probably 0.0% of you that's in the process of buying a house. But if you do, you need to, I know price point and all that, you got to find the house that you can afford. But damn, visit the house on a day other than the weekend. Visit it like in the middle of at rush hour and see how loud it is on your street. We didn't do that, and it was a big mistake because it has always been a loud. That's been my biggest regret about buying that house. That is so loud. And then they added. There used to be only one bus. Or actually, well, there'll be two buses. There'd be one bus going one way, one direction, and the other bus going the other direction. So they would meet usually around in front of my house at the beginning of every hour. And that would be from 6 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. Monday through Friday. Well, now it's 7 days a week. Yes, even on the weekends. And they've added an extra bus. So 4 times an hour, I'm hearing a bus go by my house. And they extended it an extra hour. So this is going on till 11 o'clock at night. in front of my house. Because the Bay Area, you wonderful Bay Area people. So when I got that awful, stupid, ridiculous, idiotic letter from the Alameda County Planning Commission, BS, saying, hey, you need to clean up your yard because there's dead wood out there and weeds. I said, well, you know what? You guys spend a lot of time. Basically, I didn't say it verbatim, but I said basically, hey, you're spending all this time and money that could be spent on other things. For example, curbing some of the traffic on my street. My street should not be a frickin' freeway. It is a small suburban street. And it is tucked away in Castro Valley. Why the hell are there so many people, so many cars? You need to put up some speed bumps because people are flying down the street. You need to stop the buses coming through. It's as simple as that. And he goes, well, I'll put you through to the traffic department. No, he didn't even put me through. I had to call. He gave me the phone number. I know the day that I was talking about this, he was so nice to give me the phone number. You know what? Screw that. He was an idiot. The whole Alameda County, jeez, the government in the Bay Area is just so ridiculous. Nothing is... If you are named Mike Matthews, you get penalized for everything. I got penalized for walking my dog back in 2014. He could be off leash. There was this area that said he could be off leash, and I ended up getting a ticket because I stepped foot with my dog on a bike path. Oh, if you're on a bike path, you got to have your dog on a leash. And there happened to be a car there, and they had to give me a $300 ticket. They couldn't just let it go. They couldn't just give me a warning. At least the idiot Alameda County Planning Commission gave me a warning. I'd like to talk about brainwashed people now. Oh, by the way, this is irritating me off to such an extent that I am really thinking about running for office. Because yesterday, there was a show that I was engineering, and there was the talk show hosts were talking to a local politician in San Jose, and the guy said that he went into running for office because of a stupid little thing that the local government did. The local government was penalizing his mom, who ran a small business. Gave some stupid rule, fined her for some ridiculous thing. And I thought, you know what? I'm so irritated about this, I would want to run for office. Of course, you run in politics, you make even more enemies. I don't know if it makes anything better. I don't know if I could handle all the crap and a campaign and all that crap. Speaking of which, our wonderful president, who was campaigning so much for that Salman guy in Saudi Arabia, that Crown Prince fella. He wanted so much for that guy to, he schmoozed him. I listened to the Daily from the New York Times, the podcast, and I found it so fascinating because it talked about how they groomed him, the U.S. guy, that President Trump invited him to the house, to the White House. They had lunch. He was invited to Saudi Arabia. Remember when he went to Saudi Arabia? And now...
A mess.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
It's a mess. That's right.
A mess. It's a mess.
Because a journalist was killed and dismembered. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, my gosh. So, the fact that Salman did that, the head of Saudi Arabia, and so it was actually, I didn't know this, there was actually him and his brother that were up for the kingship, because the king is not doing well. He's about to die, I guess, or something to that effect. His brother fell out of favor with the public, so this guy became number one. Some people, they call him MBS, I think is what they call him. They shortened the initials of his name. And they said, yeah, this guy, this 31-year-old guy, he's the dude, he's cool, he's hip, he's trying to bring Saudi Arabia into the 21st century, allowing women to drive, trying to court the Silicon Valley businesses to Saudi Arabia. Well, apparently this guy thinks he can do anything. As you know, all the evidence points to the fact that he had 15 hitmen basically go to the Turkish, the embassy, the Saudi Arabia embassy in Turkey. Was that the specific spot? And this journalist was killed and dismembered. But what's interesting is that, so all the evidence points that he did that. And this is something that the whole world knows about now, and we're all incensed by. But what else has this guy done? What else has he done behind the scenes? And you heard possibly about some of those rich people in Saudi Arabia that he had put in a hotel, a nice Ritz-Carlton, I think. And he tortured people in the hotel until they give more money to the government. You know he's bent like that. You know he's just nuts. So what else could he have done? Is what I mean, to dismember a man, kill him, dismember him, and have him taken out of the embassy so no one would see him. Just what else would this guy do? But unfortunately, he's the only one, Saudi Arabia, that, you know, they got a stupid king monarchy crap. And so now we're stuck with this guy for 40 years, basically. So I found that fascinating. That's the latest podcast of The Daily from the New York Times. And it's just so funny, Trump trying to, you know, he said that this whole situation is unfortunate. And he what he means by that is that he had such great hopes. There's so much money in Saudi Arabia, and America would sure like to get a big chunk of that. But dealing with this guy who's so immoral. Well, at any rate, that's all I had to say about that. To quote the great Forrest Gump, as we go outside a cafe anyway where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast, somewhere in Podcaster Valley. I'm so sore. I'm just so sore. The people in Mendocino were so nice. I mentioned we ate at a Mayan restaurant. One interesting thing I forgot to mention was the night we ate at a Mayan restaurant, actually that was in Fort Bragg during our little trip. Next door, they were doing a haunted house. Well, to bring people into the haunted house to say, hey, look, we got this haunted house going on, they had these two guys dressed as scary clowns with the scary grin. They were masks on them to give them that weird, scary grin. And they had their little balloons, and they're walking around all quiet, and women are walking down, the young ladies, teenagers are walking down the sidewalk, and they start following them, the clowns, to scare them, and it's all ha ha funny. Well, they followed a group of ladies into the Mayan restaurant my lovely lady friend and I were sitting in, and one of the girls started to cry. She was probably, I think she might have been in her 20s. She literally started to cry, and the clown wasn't even in the room. He was like waiting off to the side, and she knew it. And basically, I had to help walk her out of the restaurant because the idiot clown, obviously the guy dressed as the clown didn't see. This is a real fear, and it's a huge part of the world is afraid of clowns. Definitely Americans. We've been so inundated by Stephen King. But one of the interesting facts about why we're so afraid of clowns is we don't like the faces that aren't quite right. Like I know it doesn't sound right. It's called the Uncanny Valley. And it's why when they try and computer generate and computer animate faces, it never looks quite right, even though they try to. Oh, perfect example. Everybody loved it, but I hated it. The Rogue Team, whatever that Star Wars movie was, and they took Peter Cushing, who's long since left this planet. Peter Cushing has long been dead, and they reanimated him, for lack of a better term. Oh, it's Halloween, so reanimated him by using computer graphics. It looked horrible. It looked like a total robot talking. I'm like, are they saying that the character, I forget which character that is, General whatever, was turned into a cyborg? Is that what they're trying to do? No. And some of my friends were like, oh, that's the bet. Look, no, they did a great job. Considering It's the uncanny valley. It is a valley where on one side you have people that go, no way, that looks real. And the other side you have people going, yeah, I love Star Wars. That looks great. I love Halloween. I love clowns. But it has to do too with, I think it mentioned in this article from The Guardian in the United Kingdom, that it comes from our human brain needing to know, like, to avoid dead bodies. If you look at a dead person's face, you know that person's dead. And to just be, it's like some kind of a what do you call it? A thing, a human. We need to have it. It's a survival thing, is I guess what it is. Something like that. But yeah, we're afraid of stuff that this does not look quite. We know in our brain, we're afraid of stuff that's not quite real, that's not quite right with the human face, is what it was saying. And I think that's true. Uncanny Valley. I hope you've liked this uncanny show. I'm going to cough because I had a wonderful smoothie that actually involved, and this is so green, so eco, so hippie of me. We took a little bit of kale leaves from there's so many kale plants in Mendocino along the beaches there. And we took a couple kale leaves, and my lovely lady friend stuck it in my smoothie. And so now I died. And now if you look at my face, you're freaking out because it's an uncanny valley. No, I'm alive, but there is this wonderful person who forgot to pour us a root beer as we end the show.
That's right, Mike. I'm so mad at you. I'll cut you. I'm the Brewmaster. Oh boy, happy Oktoberfest.
Yeah, October, my God, is almost over. Oh, we got a little bit of time left. Anyway, I'm sore. Thanks for listening to the show where we cleaned up the yard. All yards. And all that wonderful gardening. So much fun. Hope maybe we'll call the show gardening. We'll end the show now, though, is what I'm going to tell you. And the next show we'll have the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Oh, and the podcast picture is another lovely picture from Mendocino. Here we go. Damn Lou Dobbs. So the podcast picture is also of Mendocino. See it at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKES-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!